Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 122nd episode of the Retrotopia podcast. My name's Alan, and this week you've got me all to yourselves, you lucky so-and-sos, as I discuss and rank the 74 games that I completed in 2025. So we did this around about a year ago. 63 games last year I ranked, and it actually got some quite nice feedback. So now with this one, I guess it's technically annualized. So this is it, Alan's annual ranking of games he beat. Now, if you're just here for the ranking, then it's probably going to be a bit shorter of an intro than usual. So I'd say maybe give it 15, 20 minutes, spin ahead and you'll get into the ranking. But we hope you stick around because we like to have a bit of fun in our intros, talk to some Patreons, play some games. It's a good time. No gentleman's interlude this week, and the game comments will be sort of interspersed into the episode itself. So yeah. Stick around. I've got to get our plugs out of the way, of course. Linktree/Retrotopia is where you can find all things Retrotopia. You can find our socials, our tpublic/Dashery merch page. You can find our Discord, which we heartily encourage you to join and have a little chat with us. And you can find our Patreon. Now, our Patreon is free to join at the base level, and you get access to most, but not all, of our bonus shows. You can listen to Quick Play, you can listen to Retro Bites early, you can vote in polls, you can comment on episodes, you can play Choose One, Lose One, all of that fantastic stuff. And we do have a paid tier, the Hero tier, of course, which for $2 will get you all of the above, as well as the ability to pick a game for our Quick Play mini review series and throw it at a host of your choice. Punish or reward as you see fit. We've got some really fun ones of those in the backlog there, so that's always good to check out. You also get access to our new Game Plus, which is kind of a modern gaming review show, because we don't really get to talk about modern games all that much on a retro gaming podcast. I think Brian just released Claire Obscure. Expedition 33. I can never fucking remember the title of it. I really want to play that game. But yeah, Brian has covered that just recently, so that's well worth checking out. The man knows his RPGs. And another thing you get at the Hero tier is, of course, you get named and praised in our intro here. So I've got a shout out this week. Guy Who Does Things is our newest Hero tier Patreon. Guy, the things that you have done are appreciated by all of us, by just showing your support and showing your love. And we thank you for it. It means a lot to us. Thanks, buddy. Now then, something that all of you can do, all Patreons can do, is comment in our 9-bit banter box. And I may be ranking games this episode, but I rank this section as the most culturally elegant of the show. All right, let's see what we've got in the bag this week. First up, we've got Brother Retro, who says, Dear Alan, I wrote you, but you still ain't called me. Brother Retro, that might be because you write your addresses too sloppy when you jot them. Anyway, carrying on. Anyways, I'm curious. My toddler son loves this show called Steve and Maggie that he watches on YouTube. I find it a bit entertaining myself, but I want to know more about it from your side of things. It's obviously a show from your side of the pond. Is this on regular TV there? Is it older or newer? Does your little one enjoy it as well? I need more info on this crazy bloke. Brother Retro, I'm sorry to disappoint, mate, but I had to look this up. I've never heard of this Steve and Maggie in my life. My daughter watches a lot of TV, and I am forced to watch a lot of that TV with her, so I think I would know if we'd seen this. So no, I don't know. Is it on regular TV? I think if it hadn't been for the fact that I looked it up, I would think you were making it up to just toy with me. But no, it is a thing that exists. And what do you know? Maybe I play far too many video games to know what's going on in the world of television. Certainly enough that I can rank them. Thanks, Brother Retro. The Big Deal says, 10 years ago, I had the chance to travel to London for work for a 2-week period. While I didn't venture much outside of Paddington Station where my hotel was and Paddington Basin where my office building was, I did venture out to see Big Ben, London Bridge, the Abbey Road and go on a Jack the Ripper ghost tour. In hindsight, what did I miss out on? P.S. A fun story I like to tell is that one of my co-workers wandered onto the set of Jason Bourne 2026, which they were filming by our office at the time. As there were other extras dressed in business suits, he got away with being in a few takes before someone realised he wasn't supposed to be there and kicked him out. That is a cool story. I've never actually seen a Jason Bourne story. Would I see him in that film if I watched it? That would be worth checking out, I think. No, you got some good stuff there from London. I mean, some of the things that I like to do in London are go to like Camden. They have some great food markets and some really funky shops there. It's all very sort of grungy and music based and all of that sort of stuff. So that's always a good time. The food markets are absolutely crazy over there. Love them. What else? Carnaby Street is good for shopping. I quite like that as well. I mean, I like to just mooch around London, just walk down Oxford Street and I mean, it used to be better back when we had more music venues there, but, you know, RIP the Astoria. I missed that place. But there was one place I went to recently, and for the life of me, I can't remember. Was it near Old Street? I don't know. I can't remember now. But there was this arcade bar that I went to, and I'm going to just try and find the name of it. It was absolutely fantastic. Just this massive bar. Arcades, systems, consoles, everything, everywhere. It was such a good time, and I just know I'm not going to be able to find it now, so it's going to be a moot point. There it is. I've just found it. NQ64, and it was near Old Street train station. Absolutely fantastic place. Loved it. If you're a fan of gaming, and I assume you are because that's why you're here, that is definitely worth checking out if you're ever over it. In fact, give me a shout, and I'll pop down there with you because I could go back to that in a heartbeat. Jam Sandwich Yoshi 94 says, "Hi Alan, please rank your top 5 fake game box arts. I don't know what this means." I don't know what this means either, Yoshi, and I racked my brains and I could only come up with a few, so I'm probably just going to have to make some up on the fly. I found a fake box art for Corey in the House of the Dead, which would be slightly less funny if the other guys hadn't explained to me recently what Corey in the House was. So yeah, Corey in the House of the Dead. Sonic gets a speeding ticket. That got a chuckle out of me. I'm a big Sonic fan, so I'd play that game. And the one that made me laugh the most was Kirby watches as his uncashed bitcoins rapidly depreciate in value. Do you know what? I'm not even going to give you 5 because I can't think of anything better than that. You'll have to just make do with 3 and I'll owe you a couple. Thank you, Yoshi. Philip, my mouth with farts, says, "Hello, Alan, you beautiful British gentleman. What would you say is your favourite retro licensed game? For example, a movie, TV show, cartoon, etc. Mine would have to be Lord of the Rings The Third Age. Final Fantasy turn-based RPG meets Lord of the Rings. Great game as you play non-canon characters through the events of the movies. Have you played it?" No, I don't think I have played that one. I've played, what was the one we co-opted together? I think it was War in the North, which was a really fun game. And I seem to remember I played a Lord of the Rings game that was kind of an RTS. I don't think I've ever played The Third Age. That being said, I wouldn't be averse to adding that to the collection. I love Lord of the Rings just like anyone else. So yeah, I'll have to check that one out. Do you know what? There are so many games to choose from, licensed games, that I could spend. This could be a ranking list all by itself. But do you know the one that jumped into my mind immediately? And I don't know if it's necessarily my favourite licensed game, but it's X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, hear me out. The reason that I've picked this one is because that film is just absolutely god-awful, dog-shite trash. And the game is immaculate. I've never seen such a gulf between a film and a video game where the game was infinitely superior to its original source material. It kind of blew me away. Just excellent gameplay, really good mechanics. The healing, the damage and healing on Wolverine is just spectacular. So, I mean, I know we've got that the Wolverine game coming out, and I can't think for the life of me who's developing it right now, and that's really embarrassing. You know who I'm talking about, them. They did the Spider-Man games. Insomniac, there it is. I think it's Insomniac anyway. If they can just take what they did in X-Men Origins Wolverine and just update it and give it the Spider-Man PS4 treatment, then that's going to be one to look forward to. So yeah, there we are. Unbuckled Cape says, "Oh mighty Dilf, Bub is starting to want to play video games. What game did you start the Admiral out on?" The Admiral is my 4-year-old daughter, for those of you who don't know, and she's not really shown much of an interest in video games. Like, she knows Mario, she knows Sonic, she knows a variety of different characters, but she's never really shown much of an interest in playing the games. That being said, she is just now beginning to look over my wife's shoulder as she plays Animal Crossing again, and she is getting involved in the fishing minigames and stuff like that. So I think, Animal Crossing might be the game to hook her into video gaming, so something nice and chill like that might be a good idea. I mean, for yourself, Unbuckled Cape, host of the Unbuckled Comics podcast, the obvious choice seems to be something like Lego Marvel superheroes or Lego DC superheroes, because I know your kids like their superheroes, so playing a nice chill game, Lego game with the superhero skins on them might be the way to go. I think they'd enjoy that. I know your lad there likes Spider-Man, so give him a controller and Lego Spider-Man and let him go to town. Blobby says, "What is your favourite Laserdisc movie?" Blobby, no shit, I had to look this up because I had never heard of a Laserdisc before, and that looks like a troll. That is ridiculous. A Laserdisc, for those of you who don't know, I looked this up and it kind of looks like a DVD or a CD, but it's about the size of a fucking vinyl. And I was like, this has to be a joke, surely. But no, apparently these are things that existed, and I'd never seen one before in my life. I am this years old. I'm now years old when I've discovered what a laser fucking disc is. I looked up, there's a few films on there. I'll have to go for, I think Empire Strikes Back was released on it. I'll go for Empire Strikes Back. Fucking brilliant film. But laser discs, my god, what a stupid looking... How do you even store that? My god. And what else have we got? Finally, Unbuckled Cape, what the fuck are you doing, buddy? 2 comments in the 9-bit banter box. That is some cheek. But I'll let you get away with it this once. Oh mighty collector, in 2025 I logged 112 hours on my Switch. These are rookie numbers that I shan't repeat. With the Bucklets and Mrs. Cape getting a job change, there is potential for me to have more gaming time. My question is, do I just keep moving through the Switch games that are on the backlog, or do I hook up a retro console and play some bigger titles I've never beaten, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, and play some games I just missed altogether, BioShock, Red Dead, etc.? I mean, the magic word there was BioShock, so obviously I'm going to advocate for that. For me, I think variety is the spice of life. Now, there are a ton of Switch games that I need to get onto, and one of my curses is that I spend so little time on any console because I'm playing so many very different ones. But I think broaden your horizons, my friend. There's plenty to pick and choose from, and you can get some good deals on a lot of the older games as well. So yeah, just explore, see what's out there. The Switch isn't going anywhere, and you can always go back to it. Okay, that's going to do it for the 9-bit banter box. Thanks everyone for writing in. I'm doing my best. My voice is still not quite what it was, but I'm on the mend. I'm getting there, guys. And that's going to lead us into our Retrotopia game show, which is, of course, Choose One, Lose One.
Ladies and gentlemen, roll up and choose your power-up from the game of the week. You pick a power, we pick a consequence. It's Choose One, Lose One, the game where everyone's a loser.
Alrighty, let's break some hearts. First up on Choose One, Lose One, we have Brother Retro, who says, I choose for the power to complete games at an Allen level of pace. Done, Brother Retro. I'm going to let you complete 74. Well, I'm going to let you complete a game 74 times. You can only complete Echo the Dolphin, and in order to beat me, you need to do it 75 times. Now, I'm not going to say you can beat it easily. You're still going to have all the stresses and trials and tribulations in doing it, but it is now the only game that you can beat. So have fun with that. Oh, that was the most evil one yet. The Big Deal says, since I just finished playing Ghost of Tsushima, I'd like to experience a nice relaxing dip in the hot springs. You can see me fully nude from behind, but you don't get to see the front, you pervs. Well, big deal. Quite aside from, I think Tsushima did about 13 million copies, or at least north of that. And so at least that many people have seen your bum. But you could have a nice relaxing dip in the hot springs, except every time you get naked in order to do so, you get distracted by a yellow bird, which is leading you to another thing that you need to find. And if you're anything like me playing that little bird will distract you from literally anything that you were doing at the time, so you never actually get your dip in the hot springs. Sorry, buddy. I know you were looking forward to that. Okay, Jam Sandwich Yoshi 94 says, I want the sleep hat from Kirby when I go to bed so I can have good dreams. Done. You now have a hat that's going to give you good dreams. The problem is that you can't ever take it off because you're asleep and having good dreams. So now you will never wake up. You now exist solely in the dream world. And, I hope it's a good one for you because you're never coming back. Joe Frigger says, I would like the ability to eat a mushroom and immediately double in size. Done, Joe. You are now, 11, 12 foot tall. Your clothes do not survive the transformation, so you're completely nude. And these mushrooms are going to make you trip absolute balls. So you end up just a quivering mass in the street, tripping off of your gourd and hanging dong. You're going to get arrested for that, I think. King Hooli III says, I want that seemingly magical phone from Watch Dogs so I can hack ATMs, change the traffic light for my benefit, and many other questionable things. Done. Sidebar, Watch Dogs is an underrated game. I quite like that game. Maybe we'll cover it one day. Who knows? But done. You can have the phone from Watch Dogs. The problem is that it is, to do all of that, it has a battery life of approximately 3 minutes. So you are constantly having to charge it up because every time you use it, you run out of battery, which kind of feels like the way phones are going these days anyway. But there you are. Enjoy having to charge your phone 27 times a day. Philip, my mouth with fart, says, I'd like to override machines to do my bidding and battle for me like in the Horizon games. I was going to go down a very spoiler-filled road explaining exactly how they got into the situation in the Horizon games, which would be punishment enough. One of the greatest twists, actually, in gaming, I think, not to give too much away. Fine. You are now in control of the machines. Unfortunately, you are now the only person who can service said machines, and if my experience with machines is anything to go by, these things are going to need constant maintenance, and you are now the single solitary IT guy responsible for all of them. So you never actually get to do anything because you're constantly trying to fix these machines. It's like printers. Do you know what? I think printers are literally designed to drive people crazy because they never fucking work the way they're supposed to. So there you go. Dylan Jacobson I would like to be able to do morph ball like Samus. I mean, there's an obvious answer here is that you feel it when you're not gonna transform into energy like Samus does or whatever the fuck they've explained it away as. You're going to feel it, but no, I'm going to go slightly differently. You can roll into a morph ball like Samus, but you are corporeal inside there, and the only way that you fit is by having your balls delicately resting on your chin. So I hope you've washed them because that's going to be quite uncomfortable. Big Kid 782 says, let me have the Master Sword from Zelda. I just want to swing a badass sword. Done. You have the Master Sword. You are now Link, but unfortunately you are Link from the 1989 cartoon, and nobody fucking likes that pervert. So stop being such a sexual predator. Blobby, I want the 7 dragon crystals from Dragon Power. Thanks. Done. Blobby, you can have those fucking dragon crystals from Dragon Power. They don't do anything, so they're not going to be any good to you. You know what? You can make a wish, and the most it's going to do is change the colour of your t-shirt, so I hope it was worth it. And that's for making me play that fucking game. Unbuckled Cape is once again gone for 2. Choose one, lose. Oh, you're on my list, Unbuckled Cape. I want to be Batman, Arkham Trilogy Batman. Done. Unbuckled Cape, you can be Batman from the Arkham Trilogy, except you're actually the one from the video games, and I'm having those games modded so that all of the lore and all of the backstory is completely wrong, and Batman uses guns and violates his no-killing policy, so you are now a Batman that you really hate. Thanks to the modding community. Appreciate you guys. And on this joyous occasion, I have another choose one, lose one to submit. I want to be able to play Keepy Uppy and have it earn me cash. Well, now you have to play Keepy Uppy forever, because the second that you stop or the second that the thing drops, you lose all the money that you've gained. So not really worth it, is it? And that's what you get for having 2 choose one, lose ones. And finally, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious says, I would like the mind control ability from Yuri in Red Alert 2. I would use this ability to manipulate Alan. Alan is making me win one instead of lose one. Oh, you win this round, Expialidocious, but repeated abuses of this power and going inside my mind is going to leave you trapped in the labyrinthine alleys of my brain, and eventually you're going to be stuck there, unable to get out and unable to interact with the rest of the world, kind of like the ending of Being John Malkovich, which is a pull I wasn't expecting to make today. So there you go. You are forever trapped in my mind. Good luck, because it's a mess in there. All right, thanks for playing, guys, as always. Jesus, this intro has gone on a lot longer than I thought it was going to, and I've still got 74 games to rank. So I'd better start up some music. And we're going to start this one up a little bit early because it takes a while to get going, but I think it is just fantastic. And yeah, I am going to go ahead and rank all 74 of the games that I completed in the year of 2025. Thanks for everything, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for writing in. And I hope you enjoy the show. My God, I don't mind telling you that I was literally dancing while listening to that because, fuck me, what a brilliant track. If you don't know, that is actually from Evoland, of all things, which is a game that is going to show up on this list. It's a game that we covered a while ago, and what an incredible piece of music that was. Now then, a couple of ground rules. Now, obviously, a lot of these games were played for the show. Many of them were just played because I like playing video games. Now, for the show ones, of course, we don't keep any kind of record of any of the rankings or anything like that. So if it turns out I rank a game higher than I ranked it on the show or ahead of a game or gave it a better score, I don't know. It's the benefit of hindsight, right? It's just, we review shows and see how we feel in the moment. But this is a list that it's allowed me to percolate. It's allowed me to see how I feel about it several months down the line. So don't come at me if I'm contradicting myself. I do it enough as it is. And of course, I've got a few comments from the Patreons to sort of splash about in here as they're appropriate. And yeah, that's about it. So let's get down to business and rank some fucking games, shall we? And we're going to kick things off with a comment from, if I can find it, King Hooley the Third, who says, "Rookie numbers, Alan. I expect at least double the amount next year. Joking. Holy hell of a list. How do you find the time?" Sorry, Hooley. King Hooley. Sorry, my liege. I am sorry. I will try to do better next year. I know somebody said the same thing last year about beating the 63, and I did. I don't see how I beat 64 this year. I'm going to try, but that's a lofty goal. And how do I find the time? I watch nothing. I read nothing. I pretty much exist to play video games. So. Yeah, it's a hobby, it's a love, and probably helps that I talk about them on the internet. But yeah, I'm dedicated to the grind. So, dishonorable mention, of course, has to go, and you're all expecting it. To Cool Fucking Borders. Now, I didn't actually count this in the list of games that I completed, but I'm going to bring it up here because it's a game that I beat all of the courses on, but I don't feel like I completed it. I feel like I survived it. That being said, if you are interested, you can find our new Cool Borders fart t-shirt that Joe has designed on our Dashery T public page. It's actually pretty fucking funny. I like it. Best thing to have come out of that game anyway. Right, so we're on to number 74, and we've already got another comment. So last game on the list, quite unsurprisingly, I did a quick play about it not so long ago, and Blobby has written in and said, "You should get a medal alone for playing it. Does Dragon Power deserve the Alan equivalent of a Razzie for your 2025 catalogue?" Blobby, Dragon Power. My game at number 74, Dragon Power for the NES, I believe it was, deserves to be shat on from a great height, to be honest with you. I mean, it is a westernized localization of a Dragon Ball game that effectively stripped out everything that would have been good about it, i.e. the Dragon Ball license. So all we're left with is a not even barely, a completely fucking unplayable game. I still, to this day, do not understand why you lose. I know Goku loses health and he's useless when he hasn't eaten, but oh, that game made me so mad. Listen to the quick play about it if you're at all interested. I am not kind to Dragon Power. Number 73 was an arcade game that I played on my Evercade handheld. It is Captain Commando, which I believe was a Capcom game that may have been part of the Capcom collection on there. It's very unremarkable. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up, the sort of thing that's been done better a million times before, punishingly difficult to the point that it is not fun. Thankfully, the Evercade has the ability to pump in as many quarters as you like and just keep going. It is the only way I would have beaten this game. I mean, some of the characters look cool, but otherwise it is completely and entirely forgettable. Number 72, Mario is Missing. Feel kind of bad about putting Mario is Missing this low down. Super Nintendo game, of course, which is an edutainment game, as you all well know. It's just not much of a game. You know, it's not without charm, but it's there's just not enough going on there. You can't even die. There's no. It's just annoying. It's an annoying game. Didn't hate it, didn't love it. Number 71, Alien Brigade for the Atari 7800, I think it was. Again, I played it on the Evercade, and it's kind of a first-person on-rails shooter where aliens have invaded, and you need to obviously blast the aliens. The cursor moves around the screen far too slowly. It looks like an Atari game. You know, it benefit of the doubt for the age of it, but you know, very, very short, decent amount of challenge there. There are better games to play. Number 70, quite notorious here, was Metal Marines for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, I didn't actually hate this game maybe as much as some of the others, but the fact of the matter is that it is cheap. I feel like this game cheats. Every single map that you're on, the enemy seems to know exactly where you are and just sends wave after wave of their own men at you and completely wipes you off the map before you've had a chance to even scratch your ass. So, Metal Marines, you are a cheap, cheap fucker. Number 69 is Alien Trilogy for the PlayStation 1. Not a terrible game, but it is a kind of a Doom clone with the Alien franchise sort of plastered over the top of it. It hasn't aged terribly well visually, but it is okay. Again, it is difficult because the controls are pretty shit and it is entirely unclear about where you need to go and what you need to do. I got through it, but I wasn't enjoying it by the end of it. Just again, another one of those games that's cheap by omission and not difficult by design. And if it feels like I'm rushing through some of these, I mean, there are 74 to go through. I mean, down in the echelons here, I will be rushing through them. But as we get higher up, I'll spend a little bit more time on each game. Otherwise, this podcast is going to be about 3 hours long. So next up, we have another comment from a Patreon. Jam Sandwich Yoshi 94 says, best game on there, Mean Bean Machine, no challenge. Oh, I will challenge you, Jam Sandwich Yoshi 94, because Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine has taken the 68th position in my ranking. Again, not a bad game if you like Puyo Puyo and puzzle games and what have you. I mean, it is punishingly difficult as you get towards the end there, and a lot of it relies on luck more than skill, I think. I mean, maybe that's just how I got through it. It is bright, it is colourful. I love the fact that it does use the animated Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons as its inspiration. So, you know, you've got a lot of the robots from the cartoon series. It just looks dumb and goofy, and I'm not a big fan of puzzle games as a whole, but, you know, I had to play this because it was part of my Sonic the Hedgehog Odyssey, which I'm still on. And speaking of, number 67 is Sonic Spinball for the Sega Mega Drive. Again, a fairly average game, but with the Sonic skin slapped over the top of it there. It's not a bad game by any stretch. I mean, I don't love pinball games. I mean, it's kind of obvious that Sonic had to be putting a pinball game down the line, and they got it out of the way early, and now we never have to do it again. It's a reasonable pinball game. It just relies on so much bullshit luck to actually get anywhere that you need to go, that what is effectively an hour-long game can take you 2 hours, 3 hours, because you just can't get the fucking ball down the fucking hole, and it's just an annoying game. But still, special place in my heart because Sonic. Number 66, and I feel bad about having this down at number 66, but it is Adventure for the Atari 2600. I remember playing this game way, way, way back when I was a kid, and I couldn't remember what it was. And when I found out again, I dived into this. Again, it was on my Evercade Atari collection. Adventure is a fantastically basic, bare bones adventure game. Look for keys, open doors, fight dragons, all in. I mean, it's not even 8-bit, it's like fucking 2-bit or something, but it was revolutionary at the time and it deserves its flowers. It's just ancient at this point. So, it's not going to beat anything on this list, but I have a special place in my heart for Adventure. The one I found again. Number 65 for the Game Gear was Sonic Drift. Now, this is the original Sonic Drift for the Game Gear. It was released only in Japan, and I played it on a collection, a Sonic Gems collection, I think, on my GameCube. And, it's a racing game on the Game Gear. How good is it going to be? You get to play as a few different Sonic characters. I got through it with Sonic and completed it in about half an hour. There is little to no replay value in this game unless you want to see how the other characters handle, and even then, there's not much variation. It's fun for what it is, but it's very much a pick up and put down and then never play it again. So maybe I probably won't. Now, buddy. Now, if any game is going to get me stricken off the list of retro gaming podcasters, it is having this game at 64, and I'm sorry. It is Half-Life, which I played on the PS2. I know the PC gamers are going to be getting their pitchforks out and chasing me down, but I did not enjoy my time with Half-Life. Maybe it's because I played it on the PS2. Maybe it's because I never played it back in the day. This is my first experience of it. It does not hold up well in 2025. I am sorry. I got through it, but I don't think I'll ever play it again. Now, that being said, I am interested in playing Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 3 if it ever comes out, but I think Half-Life is one best left in the past. I see its influence, I see its genius, but nah, not for me. Number 63 is another first-person shooter for the PlayStation 1. Well, PC and PlayStation 1, but I played it on the PS1, which is probably why it's as low as it is. It is Duke Nukem 3D. I imagine this game plays so much better on a PC. And it's probably like Half-Life, that mouse control and all the rest of it probably makes this. It probably would be higher up on my list if I played it on PC. But playing it on the PlayStation 1, you are fighting with the control system and you are, again, dying every step of the way. This was another one of those games where it's crawl to the next checkpoint or save or what. I can't even fucking remember now, but I just know it was a slog to get through. And I like Duke Nukem. I liked it back in the day because we all did, right? It's one of those games where its legacy and its sort of close to the knuckle filth far outweighs its actual gameplay mechanics. So sorry, Duke, you are not the Duke of this list. Number 62 is Ridge Racer 64, surprisingly enough, on the Nintendo 64. Racing game. Not a big fan of racing games. Ridge Racer was fine. It's very difficult to get a hang of the controller, which is something, this was an episode as well, of course, and we went in on the controls, I think. Again, once you sort of get the hang of the drifting and what have you, it does get a lot easier, but, it's a nice, bright, colourful. It looks great on the system. It's one of the best looking games on the N64, in my opinion. It's just, I'm not a big lover of racing games, so it was never going to get very high on my list. Which brings us to number 61. Our Christmas game, of course, which was Home Alone on the Super Nintendo. I was very surprised by this game. I love Home Alone. Who doesn't? But this was a game that I expected to be completely unplayable. And it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't anything special, of course, but it was a decent enough little game, a nice little platformer. A little bit floaty on the controls, but otherwise it was a good time. It was nice to see Harry and Marv and, for some reason, stuff, pets and remote controls and things down the laundry chute and fight giant spiders and what have you. I don't know, just a good time all round. Fair warning, if this episode does seem a little bit choppy, I am having to stop every once in a while because I still cannot get rid of this fucking cold and it's going to kill me. But enough about me. Let's move on to number 60, which was Harvest Moon for the Super Nintendo. I love a good Harvest Moon game. Big fan of the series. I've played a few of them. It was very interesting to go back and see where it all began. I think the only reason that this is so low down on the list is that it has been done so much better by so many games that it itself has inspired. That it is difficult to go back. It's sort of in the latter half of the game, I found myself with basically nothing to do. And maybe that's on me for front loading all of the activities in the first half of the game, but I was bored by the end of it and I did see out all 3 years, but it was a slog to get there. So great little game. I would just much rather play one of the later ones in the series. And I think that's, what you expect, right? Number 59 is Tasmania for the Mega Drive. This was a weird episode, wasn't it? Me and Sam covering Tasmania and Taz and Escape from Mars. Our first and, to my mind, only double episode. I don't know, maybe someone will correct me, but Tasmania, it's a very good-looking platformer on the Mega Drive. It's just frustrating as all hell. It definitely has its cheap moments, thinking about the mine carts and all the rest of that, but it is just far inferior to the game that would follow it, which is, unsurprisingly, further up this list. One from my childhood, this, and it was nice to revisit and actually get through it, but, oh boy, some of those mechanics just really had me tearing my hair out. Number 58, we've got Sonic Triple Trouble for the Game Gear, I believe. It might well be known as Sonic and Tails 2, over the other side of the pond there. And again, it's just a Game Gear Sonic the Hedgehog game. Perfectly serviceable, perfectly unremarkable, this one. Pretty short. And again, the controls are not great, certainly compared to some of the other Sonic the Hedgehog games on the Game Gear. It's fine. It looks awesome. It's just some of the gameplay mechanics, some of the bosses are just a little bit weird. They don't play like a normal Sonic game, which is not to its benefit, unfortunately. Number 57 is Professor Layton and the Curious Village. Again, we covered this for the show, and this is a quaint, cute little puzzle game. And as I've said earlier, I'm not a big fan of puzzle games, although this had so much charm going for it that I just couldn't help but fall in love with the characters, fall in love with the art style. It did make me feel very, very dumb, though. Not going to lie. So it is down that list because it insulted my pride, and pride is all I have left. Picked up some other games in the series, so I'm definitely going to play those. It's just one of those. It's just whenever I'm just feeling I don't want to play anything too stressful, I'm just going to chuck on another Professor Layton game. Really glad I played that one. Number 56. Now, this is going to get me shot because some of the games that this is higher than, I can't really justify this. Number 56, I played it on the Xbox Series S, part of Game Pass. It is Bluey the video game. Yes, I played Bluey the video game. I played it through to completion. I love Bluey. Like, I have a 4-year-old daughter and she got into Bluey in a big way. And frankly, because I kind of forced her to get into Bluey because I really wanted to watch it, but don't tell anyone. And I think the video game does a fantastic job of bringing those characters and that cartoon to the big screen, to the video game screen. That's the one. It was very charming. It was very fun. It did exactly what you expected of it. And it wasn't too long, just quick in, quick out. And it's one I kind of played with my daughter, sort of sat on my knee while I was playing. So obviously huge nostalgic value there. So a good game if you've got kids and they're into Bluey. Number 55. Now, this was a real surprise. I actually got this one free on my Evercade because every month they have an update and you get a free indie game. And this one is called Flea. Now, I'm still sort of, jury is out on whether or not I do a quick play on this one, but Flea is a very, 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 very 8-bit indie kind of a platformer game where you play as a flea, and the mechanic here is that you are always jumping. So you have to move around these platforms and dodge enemies while you have a jump that you can only control in so much as you can shorten the jump or you can lengthen the jump, but you can never stop jumping, which makes some really interesting gameplay mechanics. And you just go around collecting blood and giving it to other fleas for extra lives and what have you. And it's really fucking addictive. I would recommend this to anyone. It seems dumb at first, but you will be hooked on it. I guarantee you. Which brings us to another indie game that I really got hooked onto, and this again was for a quick play. Number 54 is Donut Dodo, which one of our Patreons asked me to play for them, and I enjoyed this immensely. Great, again, very much a game in the kind of old retro PC style. The ZX Spectrum comes to mind. It's that kind of art style. And again, it's very simple. It's kind of like Donkey Kong in so much as you're climbing up platforms and running around to collect things. In this case, you're collecting donuts to try and get the all of your baked goods. What was his name? I can't think of the baker's name. It was something quite funny, but it's completely gone from my mind. But he's getting all of his baked goods back from this manic-looking dodo, and it is difficult. It is very difficult at times. You know, that difficulty curve just goes up. But lots of fun to play. Very arcadey game, that one. Number 53 is Asterix and the Great Rescue, which I played for the Sega Master System. I'm a big fan of Asterix. I used to watch all the films back in the day, read all the comics back in the day. I mean, if you don't know, Asterix and his friend Obelix are Gauls who live in Gaul, funny enough, and fight off the Roman Empire, the last bastion of resistance against the Roman Empire. And they do that with their magic potion, which gives them immeasurable levels of strength. And this is a pretty good looking. No, it was for the Mega Drive. That's right. Sorry, it was for the Mega Drive. Very good looking game. It looked like the comics very well. I mean, it was very difficult, but again, it had passwords and things like that. So it was very much a crawl to the next password, put it down, pick it up again. You know, the controls could have been better, a little bit lax, but I enjoyed it immensely. I love a good bit of Asterix. I've got quite a few of these games, actually. Big fan. Number 52, Mortal Kombat. So this is the first Mortal Kombat game, of course, for the Sega Mega Drive. We played it on the Mega Drive. We weren't dealing with all of that sweat nonsense. We wanted blood. Mortal Kombat, what can I say? I mean, it's a fighting game. I like fighting games. I'm terrible at them, but I managed to beat Mortal Kombat. It is very basic when you look at fighting games now, and it's certainly the weaker out of the series when compared to things like the awesome Mortal Kombat 2, and I'd argue 3 as well. But it was nice to see exactly where it came from and replay this game again from my childhood, and actually beat it, because I never did back in the day. Could have done with more fatalities, though. That's where it was lacking. Number 51, the other half of our double episode, was Taz Escape from Mars for the Sega Mega Drive. So this was the far superior and much better looking Tasmanian Devil game, in my opinion. It handled much better. There was a great amount of variation in the levels and backgrounds and things like that, and it was just a lot more fun. And this was the one that I remember from playing back in the day, much more than the other one. So again, it had that huge nostalgic angle, and I still think it holds up today. Really fun game. Number 50 is F-E-A-R, Fear. This was a game that I played it on the PS3. It was not without its faults. The sound was terrible. But overall, I think it told a really good story. I really enjoyed the atmosphere that it had created. I mean, the first-person shooting and what have you was fairly basic, but, you know, nothing to its detriment. I like a good spooky game, and Fear definitely had spooky leanings. Not the scariest game I've ever played, but I think they did a lot of good. Again, another game that I probably should have played on PC, but I am not a PC gamer, so I have to get all of the inferior versions on console. So that one's on me. That being said, speaking of inferior versions, I think the guys were the ones who played the inferior version for the next one, because I played for number 49 Dragon Ball Z Budokai on the GameCube, which, as it turned out, while we were talking on the episode, was actually the better version of the game, which was a source of some confusion for us while we played it. But it turns out that, yeah, despite the fact that I didn't have any of the title music like that Rock the Dragon and stuff like that, which I'm still bitter about to this day. I still don't know why we didn't get the license for that, to have that in the game, but okay, whatever. It's a great Dragon Ball Z game, but it has been done infinitely better, even in the sequels in its own series. And, you know, to see where it's come these days, I haven't played Sparking Zero yet, but Dragon Ball Fighters, or Dragon Ball Fighter Z, or however you say it, that is a great game, which I really need to get back into, because I was having a good time with that. I just got sidetracked. One of the very few fighting games that I really fucking enjoyed, that one. So, at number 48, now this might be a cheeky pick because it's technically part of another game that I played, which is higher up on the list, but it is Bowser's Fury. I am counting this as a separate game, and I think the creators consider it a separate game as well. If you don't know, Bowser's Fury was packaged in with Super Mario 3D World on the GameCube, on the Switch, and I kind of went straight into this after co-oping Super Mario 3D World with my wife, and we were instantly disappointed that the co-op only stretched as far as controlling fucking baby Bowser, and it wasn't very good. The co-op was, so my wife dipped out and I carried on playing this by myself. Now, it's a fun game, you know, there's plenty to do, plenty of puzzles and things like that you can interact with. I especially like the big kind of kaiju fights with Bowser that you get into when you get really fucking big and just lay into Bowser. Those were cool, but it kind of felt like a bit of a tech demo more than anything. Not really like a full game, but I'm counting it as such because I rolled credits on both, and that's good enough for me. Number 47. We heard the music in that absolutely fantastic music. It's Evoland, which I played on the mobile phone of all places, but you can get it on all sorts now. Switch, PlayStation. It is a wonderful journey through retro gaming history. We did an episode on it. You start off in basically a almost like a Game Boy style art style, and then every chest you come along adds something new to the game until you're basically playing a full 3D RPG. It is such a sublime mechanic, and it's a short game, and I wouldn't say that there's much in the way of replay value on it because, you know, you kind of know what the additions to the game are going to be, so it kind of loses a bit of that surprise. But I enjoyed it immensely. And again, the music is absolutely fantastic. So well worth playing. You can pick it up quite cheap, I think, usually. Number 46 was Fire Emblem for the Game Boy Advance. I'd never played a Fire Emblem game before, and as far as I'm aware, this is the first one that ever came over to the West, and as such lacks some of the quality of not even quality of life improvements, the mod cons that would come with later games in the series. And this was my first experience with permadeath, and I understand it's as a mechanic, it's just not something I enjoyed. And certainly as I got into the later stages, this game became punishingly difficult, especially that last fight where all of the bosses from the game just come out one by one, and you do sometimes feel like you're crawling, having to repeat levels and try again. And, you know, it's not a gameplay loop that I necessarily enjoy, but I can see how deep it is as a strategy game. So, you know, a really good introduction to the series. And I am still interested in playing some of the later ones and see how they adapt and improve. Number 45 was Zillion. Now, this was an interesting game I played on my Master System. Zillion, it's based on an anime or a manga or something like that, which I've never seen or heard of before. But it's kind of I didn't know what I was getting into with this game, but it turned out to be something like a Metroidvania on the Master System. Now, if you know me, I love a good Metroidvania. And while this was basic, it definitely did a lot on a system that I wasn't expecting it on. It has a sequel which I've yet to really get to grips with, but they did away with all the Metroidvania stuff, so I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it as much. But yeah, real surprise was Zillion. I doubt it's available anywhere, so you probably couldn't play it even if you wanted to. Oh, I suppose you could emulate, but yeah, don't sleep on Zillion. Really good little game, a hidden gem on the Master System, I think. Number 44, I got this free on PS Plus. It was one of the monthly games, and I thought, fuck it, let's give it a go. It's the Stanley Parable. I had never heard of this game before, but I thought, you know what, let's give it a go. And what I found was a wonderful game about choice and decision, and exploring different avenues of possibility. Kind of has a humor style similar to things like Portal and what have you. You start off in this office block, and the narrator is telling you what this I think it's Stanley anyway, is going to do with his day, and you can choose to follow that voice, or you can choose to do something different. And the way the story changes and adapts based on whether you're compliant or whether you rebel against what you're supposed to be doing, it leads you down infinite different possibilities. Like, you can effectively break the game, which is, again, part of the game. And fantastic replay value, because there are so many different choices that you can make that no two playthroughs are going to be the same. Really, really good little surprise there. I enjoyed the Stanley Parable. Great game. Okay, number 43 was Crystallis, which we played, I think it was on the NES. Really great little RPG. Again, one of those games where I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and surprisingly deep for the NES. Little bit cryptic at times, but then, as all games were on the, as all RPGs anyway were on the NES at the time, just again, a nice, pleasant little surprise. One I will almost certainly play again. Number 42 was Kirby 64 for the N64. Now, I love a good little Kirby game. I think they're adorable. I think they're good fun. And Kirby 64, though short, was a good time. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the sort of blending mechanic of powers, especially as they pertain to unlocking different areas. I thought that was a really clever little wrinkle that they added to the game there. I am glad that I played this on the Nintendo Switch Online, though, because a copy of this around here goes for upwards of £150. And I think if I'd have actually saved up and bought this game to find out how short it was, I would have been very, very disappointed. And it probably would have gone lower down on the list just because of that alone. So yeah, Kirby 64. Number 41 is Batman. Batman for the NES. I had heard how difficult this game was, and buddy, it definitely lived up to its reputation. Batman on the NES is very, very difficult, but very, very fair, I think, at least for the most part. Some of the enemy respawn can be a little bit bullshit, and that Joker fight at the end is an absolute monster, but incredibly satisfying to get through this one. And just a really solid game all round. You know, it controls fantastic. It looks really good for the system, and it's yeah, I mean, they got Batman pretty right straight out of the gate. You know, I know there've probably been a few bad Batman games, but I think Batman is one of those superheroes that has more good games than bad. Yeah, Batman on the NES. Number 40 was Super Mario Brothers 2, again for the NES. This was for our 100th episode, and delightful to play this game again. It's the one I remember probably the most from my childhood. And, you know, I don't think I need to tell everyone about the fact that this was a reskin from Doki Doki Panic, which was something we discussed in the episode. So a little bit cheeky there, you know, dumbing down the series for us Westerners. But you know, having dabbled with the lost levels and what have you, you know what? I think it was the right choice. I love Super Mario Brothers 2. It's a shame it's so low down on the list, but I just think, you know, it was such a hard list to rank, this one. We played so many bangers. Speaking of, another banger on the NES. Number 39 was Probotector, or if you prefer, Contra, on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Beautiful. I love a good run and gun, and Probotector, I was so glad. I was looking forward so much to playing Probotector, and I was so glad to see it did not disappoint. This game is just tons of fun, fast paced, hectic. Get the spread gun. Always get the spread gun. You get the spread gun and you're good. But it's very difficult, but it's never unfair. Like really, really solid game. Contra or Probotector. Number 38 was Dragon Warrior 3, which I played for the longest time getting ready for an episode, and it was so nice to just lose myself in an RPG again. It's been a little while. It's been a while. But yeah, Dragon Warrior 3 was surprisingly deep. I mean, I'd only ever really played Final Fantasy, the first one, not even on the NES. I played it on the Game Boy Advance version. But to play a game like Dragon Warrior 3, it surprised me with just how much they managed to cram into that cartridge. Really solid little RPG, and having never played any of them in the series before, I am now, sign me up for playing more Dragon Warriors. Going to go back and play the first one when I get a chance, and just carry on, I think. Number 37, Sonic Chaos. Now, this is one of my... probably one of my favorite Sonic games on the Master System. It's definitely up there. It looks fantastic. It's very, very easy though, and not all that long, but it is a fun, quick win kind of a game. Again, I am still continuing to play every single Sonic game that I can find. Certainly going to try to play every single one that was released. And Sonic Chaos was another one along my journey. And I always love just chucking this on for half an hour, 40 minutes, and just blasting through it. It's a really nice, pleasant, quick win. And the animation, the music, and all the rest of it just looks great for the system. I'll die on the hill. Sega have always had a better color palette and better visuals. I'm sorry. It's just how I feel. Number 36. This one came out of nowhere. Freedom Planet, which I played on the PlayStation 4. This was recommended by someone in our Discord because they knew how much I loved Sonic games. Obviously, it's no secret. They knew how much I loved Rocket Knight Adventures. Again, no secret. And they thought, Alan, would you like to play a game that's kind of like Sonic and Rocket Knight Adventures? And I was like, fuck yes, I would. And they recommended Freedom Planet. And it was everything that they advertised. Really tough, charming platformer that really harkens back to that animation style and that sort of mascot platformer from back in the day. So it kind of struck a nostalgic nerve with me, despite the fact that I'd never actually played the game before. So I felt right at home playing Freedom Planet. I think there's a sequel as well, which I will absolutely be getting round to at some point. Freedom Planet was lots of fun. Number 35, and I'm just going to pause for a quick drink. Oh, this episode is actually going to kill me, I think. Number 35, Ratchet & Clank All for One. Ratchet & Clank is a series that I adore. I played this one on the PS3, and I played this co-op. Again, another one we played co-op with the missus. And I do love Ratchet & Clank. All for One was a kind of a funny sort of tower defense kind of game, which I didn't love. Of course, it had all of the humor and all of the big guns that you're used to from Ratchet & Clank. So, it had that going for it. And it was a lot of fun to play. It's just, I didn't like it as much as some of the sort of single player, the sort of normal style of Ratchet & Clank games. I appreciate that it did something a little bit different, and I appreciated the co-op aspect of it. It just probably one of the weaker Ratchet & Clank games. If you're going to miss any of them, I think this is one you can probably skip. Number 34, again, another quick play game that took me by surprise. M-U-S-H-A, Musha. I know on the quick play, I praised how much I loved the unabbreviated title. I cannot remember what it is for the life of me now, but this was a shoot 'em up, which is a genre that literally doing this show, I have gotten such an increased amount of respect for. A Mega Drive shoot 'em up with a gorgeous kind of Japanese art style that just really set it apart from a lot of other games. Really difficult, had some bullshit moments, I'm not going to lie, but it was so much fun to play and so satisfying to beat, even if it was a little bit cheap right at the end there. But no, I had a good time with Musha, really enjoyed that one. And it's been a while, but we've got another Patreon comment Brother Retro says, so happy to see Mystical Ninja in this list, and it completely made my year hearing you talk about it. That being said, wow, what a list. A dad, husband, and one heck of a provider to his family and his gaming community. You, sir, alone deserve the Allen Award. Brother Retro, that is so sweet of you. But you have just reminded me of those other responsibilities that I have. I should probably look in on that stuff. I do have a wife and child around here somewhere. Maybe I should put down the control pad and go and see what they're up to. No, Brother Retro turned me on to Mystical Ninja as his Patreon pick for a quick play. And as I mentioned on the episode, as soon as I saw that Konami logo, I knew I was in for a good time. Legend of the Mystical Ninja looks like just your bog standard platformer, but it is so much more. Again, it's one of those games on the Super Nintendo that I'd never heard of, and I found, to me, a completely hidden gem, because there is so much going on in this game above and beyond just the platforming. You know, there are RPG elements, there are so many mini games, and just so much going on, all wrapped up again in that gorgeous sort of Japanese art style. It is such a good looking game. I will definitely play this again. And I think Goemon is the character. I think they've just announced a collection for a lot of the Japanese only games and things like that, which is going to be released at some point in the not too distant future. And I am now very interested in picking that up. So thank you, Brother Retro, for turning me on to Legend of the Mystical Ninja. Number 32. Now, it may be 32 on my list, but as far as achievements goes, this would be up nearly number 1. But it is Comic Zone for the Mega Drive, a game I loved dearly back in my childhood, despite the fact that I could never get anywhere close to beating it. Well, last year, I was going to say this year, but it's 2026 now. Last year was my year. I finally beat Comic Zone, and my God, I'm going to hang that plaque on the wall, and just that is a mark of achievement. That is very difficult game, but one of the best looking games on the Mega Drive. It is the comic book art style and all the rest of it, just the game mechanics alone, using the comic book pages as weapons, and just the way it really leans into that whole comic book theme. It's just a spectacular game. One that I think is very well known as a kind of cult classic, if that makes any sense. You know, everyone's sort of seen Comic Zone, even if they haven't played it. Number 31, I think, may have been the first game I completed this last year. Not sure. I got it for Christmas for the PlayStation 4. Brian has actually done a quick play on this one, I believe, somewhere in the archives. It is Squirrel with a Gun. I mean, what else do I need to say? It's a squirrel with a gun. I also have trouble saying the word squirrel. Not quite sure why. It is one of those games like Untitled Goose Game and stuff like that, where it's just the concept is so ridiculously bonkers that you can't help but just want to have a look and see what's going on here. And even though I think the novelty did kind of wear off a little towards the end, this is a game I was just playing with a big old smile on my face. A squirrel with a variety of different guns, running away from and shooting agents, and it's just bonkers. Play it. If you ever see it on sale, pick it up and play it. It's weird, but it's fun. Speaking of weird, number 30. The Missing, J.J. Macfield and the Island of Memories. This game took me by surprise. This was another game I played for a quick play, and I had no idea what I was getting myself in for here. Judging by the box art alone, I couldn't have told you the weird, wonderful journey that I was going to take with this game. It is kind of a side-scrolling puzzle platformer in the same vein as things like Outside and Limbo and things like that, where you play as this J.J. Macfield, and I'm not going to tell you anything about the story. I've done a quick play about it. I don't want to spoil anything about this game, but the main mechanic of basically amputating all of this poor girl's limbs in a variety of gruesome manners to use said body parts as means to solve puzzles. I mean, you can literally be sloshing your way through certain parts of this level as just a severed head, and all the while just being able to recall all of those body parts at any time. It is such I've not seen a gaming mechanic quite like it, and it tells a fantastic story as well. Really surprising game, and it did teach me not to judge a book by its cover, because I would not have looked at this game twice. So I really appreciate getting the chance to play this, and this is why I love the Quick Play series so much. Number 29. This is a bit of a surprise being so low, but it is Halo, the first one, which, again, we played co-op on the Master Chief Collection on the Xbox Series S. I like Halo. I like Halo fine. It's not my favorite Xbox exclusive. Well, it's not even an Xbox exclusive anymore. I mean, first-person shooters are fine by me. I'm not terribly good at them, but Halo is kind of legendary. It is so low down on my list simply because there are other Halo games that do it better. There are other games that I prefer in the sort of shooter genre. I'm much more of a third-person shooter fan, if that makes sense. But Halo is a fine game, but the library can fuck itself all the way to hell and back. That's probably why it's so low on the list, because of the library, and I will die on that hill as well. Number 28. Now, this is a big surprise for me because if you know anything about me, you know I am a die-hard Legend of Zelda fan. So to have Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom all the way down at 28, this surprised even me, but I can't explain it. Tears of the Kingdom didn't necessarily do anything wrong. It's just I've already played Breath of the Wild, and this kind of felt like doing that all over again. I didn't like the mechanics of the Ultra Hand. I'm sorry. Putting things together and building things to solve puzzles kind of felt like a cheap way of not designing puzzles by the developers. And I understand that people did get on with it, and they've built some crazy things out of it. I'll grant you that. But I just didn't enjoy it. It just slowed the game down for me too much. And take that away, and what's left? I mean, the story was fine, but I just think in every way, Breath of the Wild was a better game. And I'm sorry, Legend of Zelda. I feel bad, but it's true. Ah, never mind. Number 27 was Pokemon Violet. I love Pokemon as well. Played this on the Switch. I mean, it's a Pokemon game. You kind of know what you're getting on the tin. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing special. I enjoyed it. I just love that gameplay mechanic. I love Pokemon, but it's never going to get very high on my list because it's kind of a game that I just play out of familiarity now, rather than, I never sort of get it day one or anything like that. It's just I'll get around to Pokemon because I know I'll need a game that is friendly and familiar. But it was an enjoyable looking game. Number 26, Devil May Cry for the PlayStation 2. I think I enjoyed this game a lot more than the other guys when we did an episode about this one. Again, it's one that I've played many times, and it has a special nostalgic place in my heart. I love Devil May Cry. It's the stylish emo brother of Resident Evil, right? I mean, it was originally a Resident Evil. It was originally Resident Evil 4. And I just love the fact that they decided, you know what, this is getting too fucking crazy. Let's just spin it off into its own series, which is still going today. And I love every single entry except for number 5, but that's only because I haven't played it yet. And I'll try and get round to that this year, I think. But Dante, you are cool by me. I love you, buddy. Number 25, Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, I am a huge Assassin's Creed fan, but again, Assassin's Creed is one of those series that I will buy every time. I'll buy it when it comes out and I'll play through it. But at this point, it's just brand recognition. No Assassin's Creed game has ever beaten Assassin's Creed 4, in my opinion. But I know what I'm getting with Assassin's Creed, and this was a very good one in so much as they really scaled back a lot of the scale of previous Assassin's Creed games. Like Valhalla, I thought was just too big. Great game, and I loved the whole Norse aesthetic and things like that, but it was too fucking big. So to play an Assassin's Creed game that really just trimmed a lot of the fat out and just took it back to its basics, it did give me a little bit of Assassin's Creed 1 vibes, which, kind of put it in my memory a bit more than some of the other ones. But again, it's more Assassin's Creed. I'm always going to play them, but they're never going to be like my favorite game of the year. Speaking of games that I like to play every entry in, number 24 is the relatively newly released Borderlands 4. Now, Borderlands 4 is an odd one. Again, they're a game series that me and the wife like to play co-op, and I think even she would agree that it's probably one of the weaker entries in the series. Now, that's not to say we didn't enjoy it. I will always enjoy a Borderlands game, but there was something a bit off about Borderlands 4. We played it on the PS5, of course, and it just didn't have quite the same heart as other games in the series. And I know that they've changed the location. It's no longer on Pandora. You're on Kairos now. And I think a lot of the character and heart stayed on Pandora. It tried to be a little more serious than it was humorous. And it's always kind of been the humor and the wacky side characters that have made Borderlands for me. And, you've got Moxie in there. You've got some of the other Vault Hunters still in there. No Tiny Tina, though, which is probably why it's so low on this list, because Tiny Tina is my favorite character in the series. And to have her not in this game was an absolute fucking crime. Very solid Borderlands game, but again, probably my least favorite in the series. Number 23 was Donkey Kong Country. On the SNES, do I even need to say it? Donkey Kong Country is pretty legendary. I will probably be killed not only by the fandom, but also probably by some of the members of our own host team here for putting Donkey Kong Country so low down on the list. I like Donkey Kong Country fine. It's a great game. It's a great platformer. It's very challenging. There are things about it that I don't love. Specifically, the save system is a little bit bullshit. But it is a very enjoyable game that I remember playing back in the day. There was no way I was beating this as a kid. So it was very refreshing to actually get the win on this one. Now, it's just, out of all the platformers, out of all the Marios, the Sonics and things like that, it's just not my favorite. I've still yet to play Donkey Kong Country 2 or 3 for that matter, and I will be picking those up at some point, and maybe I'll like those more. But Donkey Kong Country is a great game. It's just not the greatest game. Number 22, as we mentioned earlier on, the other half of the Switch compilation that we got hold of, Super Mario 3D World. And again, there he is, placing ahead of Donkey Kong Country. I just prefer Super Mario. That being said, Super Mario 3D World was a perfectly fine game. Again, we played it co-op. It's just a fairly unremarkable Mario game. It does everything right, but nothing that stands out. You think of some of the other 3D Mario platformers, they've all got something a little bit different about them. Mario 64 kicked off the whole 3D thing. Then you had Sunshine, which had that water, the flood mechanic and all the rest of that. Odyssey had so much different going for it. And this just felt like a Mario game in 3D. Still lots of fun, just nothing that really stood out. Still really enjoyed it, though. Number 21, Star Wars Force Unleashed. I love this game. I love Star Wars The Force Unleashed. It really does allow you to just lean into that power fantasy that having the Force would give you, and taking Galen Malik across the universe and just frying stormtroopers and throwing Wookiees and all of that good shit. It is just so much fun. This is a game that I will just chuck on every once in a while when I just want to vent, when I just want to let off some steam. And it introduced me to Sam Witwer. This and Battlestar Galactica. And Sam Witwer, I think, is the best thing that's happened to Star Wars in a long time, and we need to give that man more control over the creative side of Star Wars. Please. Yeah. Next up, we have a comment from The Big Deal, who said, I'd love to hear what you thought about Sonic CD, especially in comparison to the other Sonic games. It always gets praised as one of the best games in the series, but I think the time travel mechanic is overrated, and the level design is counterproductive to the main point of a Sonic game, which is to go fast. Well, Big Deal, yes, Sonic CD is number 20 on my list last year. And I agree with literally everything you've said there. Now, Sonic CD is a great game, don't get me wrong. The thing is with Sonic CD is it was originally supposed to be kind of an updated remake of the original Sonic the Hedgehog, and it shows. I believe it released after Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which was a game that literally did everything better than Sonic 1. This felt like Sonic 1, but with more stuff, if that makes any kind of sense at all. It was kind of a step backwards in the Sonic series. And yeah, don't tell Brian this, but I quite agree. The level design was not conducive to going fast, which was kind of the main mechanic that you needed to do in order to time travel. So there were so many times where you had these gates that would allow you. So basically, it's the Back to the Future thing. You have to run fast for long enough to travel through time, but the levels didn't really allow you to do that. And it's a perfectly fine game, although I think the special stages are not great. But yeah, it's better than Sonic 1. I'll give it that. But not as good as Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Still a good game, though. Number 19 was The Last of Us. What can I say about The Last of Us that hasn't already been said a million times before? I mean, as far as gameplay mechanics go, I don't think it does anything particularly groundbreaking. It is a perfectly serviceable PlayStation action game, that we've come to know and love. But The Last of Us, of course, is its story. It is the relationship between Joel and Ellie. It is all of that stuff that happens, the character development and all of that stuff. It just tells a wonderful story, and it allows you to be part of that as it takes you on that journey. And that is why I think The Last of Us is such a spectacular video game. I will play it again, and that's kind of how I decide this list, to be honest with you. Like, how likely am I to play this game again? And yeah, definitely, The Last of Us. I would play the second one again before I played the first one again, because I've only played the second one once, and I know I didn't like it as much as this one. I know that much. But yeah, maybe I'll wait for the next re-release of The Last of Us, and I'll pick it up then. Number 18. Again, another one of my fondest victories from last year was Castlevania for the NES. I don't think I need to tell anyone here that I love Castlevania. It's one of my favorite series of all time. And the original Castlevania on the NES, although the old style of Castlevania, which I do admittedly prefer Metroidvanias over the original style of action platformer, there's just no denying that Castlevania is a stellar game, right? It's just, it kicked off an entire series that still, thankfully, is going on to this day, because we've just had another Castlevania game announced, and I could not be more excited. Castlevania, back where it all started, the music, the action, the visuals, that sort of B-movie style horror to it. It's the whole package. It's tough as nails, but very beatable. When you get those infinite continues and all sorts, this is one of my most satisfying victories of last year. Castlevania. And while we're on the Castlevania theme, number 17. Now, I'm going to take a moment to get a little bit serious here, because number 17 is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which I played for PS4. It is another Castlevania-inspired, very Castlevania-inspired, same teams and everything, Metroidvania. And it was absolutely fantastic, very much in the vein of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, everything that I love about a Metroidvania. And I would like to shout out, if I may, Shitaro Ida, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, who was a developer who worked on this and one other game on the series, not on the series, one other game on this list, and he passed away recently. And I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you for your services to gaming, my good man. This was an absolutely fantastic game. The only reason it's not higher up on the list is because it is very much an homage to Castlevania and didn't necessarily do anything very different, although it definitely hit that Castlevania nostalgic love that I had. And I just thought I'd take an opportunity to shout out Shitaro Ida for that one. Anyway, next up, 16, Gears of War 3. Again, another game that me and the missus were co-oping through. We decided we wanted to play through all of the Gears of War games, and it's been a minute since we played number 3, so we need to get back on the hype train. Gears of War 3 is an absolutely fantastic cover-based shooter. There's no denying the allure of donning half a car in armor and just running around with a gun with a fucking chainsaw on the end of it, slicing up grubs. I mean, it's a good time. I put Gears of War ahead of Halo any day of the week. And the only reason that this is down at number 16 and not at number 15 is because at number 15 is Gears of War 2, which I put slightly ahead of Gears of War 3, but they're really a 1A, 1B. Gears of War 2 is technically the better game. I like the story more. There are some story beats that even now I'm not going to spoil, but if you know, you know, that really just get you in the feels. I mean, Gears of War 3 has them as well. Again, if you know, you know. But 15 and 16, Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3, what do I need to say? Just absolutely fantastic, brainless, grub-killing fun. Number 14 was Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. Apparently, I played a lot of Castlevania or Castlevania-likes last year, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Dawn of Sorrow was the last, I think, of the Castlevania DS games that I hadn't gotten round to yet, so now I've gotten all of them, and Dawn of Sorrow was great, one of the better ones on the system, although they're all fantastic. Again, it's very much a Metroidvania style of game, which, as you know, I love. Dawn of Sorrow, was that the one? I'm questioning myself now. Was that the one that was set in modern day? Because if that's the case, I really appreciated the fact that yeah, it was. So Castlevania was more or less set in modern day. There were fucking cars parked outside and shit like that, and it was really weird to see that in a Castlevania game. But yeah, great story, which again I'm not going to spoil here. Especially the protagonist and who and what they are. But yeah, always gonna rank a Castlevania game highly. Next up, where are we? Jesus Christ, we're getting there, guys. Number 13 was Borderlands 2. Again, the best of the Borderlands games. I don't care who you ask. I don't care who's asking. We adore the Borderlands series, and number 2 is the pinnacle of Borderlands. All of that stuff that was missing from Borderlands 4 is here and present. All of the wacky characters, Jack, handsome Jack, one of the best villains in gaming. It's all there. A wonderful looter shooter, bright, colourful, chaotic, and just tons of fun, especially if you play it with friends, which is the way to go. Number 12 is Far Cry 3. I think Brian and I both gushed about this game when we covered it on the show. What can I say? I mean, it is undeniably the best. Well, I would say it's the best Far Cry game. I think Brian would argue a case for number 5. But either way, neither of us are wrong, except for Brian, because Far Cry 3 established, in my mind, the pattern for all Far Cry games, the big over the top villain, the gameplay loop. I mean, you could argue that Ubisoft and the whole tower climbing and opening the map and collectibles thing is kind of done to death now, but back in the day playing Far Cry 3, this was a trip. The music's fantastic, the story is bonkers, just all around fun. Number 11, again, representing my newfound love of run and gun games, Gunstar Heroes for the Mega Drive. Brilliant. Fantastic. The art style, the chaotic action, the slew of different weapons and combinations that you can use, the bosses, which are all so unique and interesting. The only thing I've got to say about Gunstar Heroes that I didn't enjoy was the board game level, which if you listen to the episode or if you've played the game, you'll know all about. Not a fan of that in any game, as it turns out. If you've listened to the Cuphead episode by now, you know what I'm talking about. But Gunstar Heroes is just an absolute... It's almost like an arcade game on the Mega Drive. So much fun to play. And yeah. Alrighty, we have finally made it into the top 10. Took us long enough to get here, didn't it? In at number 10, kind of surprising, although perhaps not surprising given my love of the genre. It's Metroid Other M. Metroid Other M for the Nintendo Wii gets shit that I don't think it necessarily deserves. It's a great Metroidvania game. It really makes some interesting use of the Wiimote and stuff like that. You know, it's only so low because, yes, I will agree that the characterization of Samus is a little bit wonky, and there are some character decisions that are kind of dumb, but if we're looking at it from a pure gameplay perspective, I mean, this is as good as many other games in the series. You know, there are better Metroid games, sure, but you're not going to have a bad time playing Metroid Other M. And I think people need to cut it some slack. Okay, I have spoken. Number 9 is Resident Evil. What can I say about Resident Evil? Not as good as Resident Evil 2, and we will almost certainly cover that on the show one day, but Resident Evil really blew my mind back in the day. I have played this and beaten this so many times now that I could probably play it blindfolded. It is just my first ever experience with this kind of cinematic horror game. Remember seeing it back in the day around my nan's house. My uncle was playing it, and I was just like, what the fuck is that? And how do I get hold of it? The first time that video games weren't all just Sonic and Mario, and I will remember that impression for as long as I live. Resident Evil, a little bit clunky by today's standards, I'll admit, and I will still die on the hill that the tank controls serve the horror rather than take away from them, because the leaning towards the action style of gameplay recently kind of has stripped Resident Evil of a lot of its scares. But yeah, Resident Evil, a classic for a reason. Number 8 was Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds. Now we're talking. This is more like it. I mean, this is the style of Zelda game that I really enjoy. That old school dungeon, one quirky mechanic that carries you through the game. I mean, the ability to become part of the wall to solve puzzles, and a little painting Link there. I mean, we covered this for the show, and it is an absolutely stellar example of a Legend of Zelda game. I mean, it uses almost exactly the same map as A Link to the Past, which was always going to do it some favors. You know, that is one of the most lauded games in the entire series. And rather than just being an also-ran, I mean, this game takes a lot of the mechanics from that game and just really beefs them up. It's such a shame that this seems to be lost on the 3DS, because it is really a spectacular Legend of Zelda game, and I love it dearly. Number 7, Doom Eternal. You know me, I love a Doom game. Doom Eternal, I played on the PS4, is everything that Doom 2016 was, turned up to 11. The action, the ability to cross an entire battlefield in just one quick swing, the weapons, of course, you know, the shotguns, everything, the music. Oh, the music in this game is absolutely spectacular. Doom Eternal is chaotic, and just, I love the fact, I did a New Game Plus on this, so if you want to hear more, you can go ahead and listen to that if you're a Hero Tier Patreon. I just love the fact that you use different types of kills to replenish your ammo, your health, and stuff like that. It really just added an urgency to the game. Like, you had to just be constantly moving in battle, and with the music pumping and your blood going, it's just, oh my God, what a good time. What a good time to be killing demons. Doom Eternal. Number 6. Now, this surprises me, being even as low as number 6, because I was very excited for this game, and it is still in my top 10. It is the Silent Hill 2 remake for the PS5. Bloober team, take a bow, because you did a spectacular job remaking Silent Hill 2, which is still to this day the original one of my favorite games of all time. And being as it's one of my favorite games of all time, I was always going to be very judgmental about a remake, and I hold my hands up. You knocked it out of the park. Silent Hill 2 remake is pretty much the definitive way to play this game now, I think. It is gorgeous to look at. It's been tightened up quite nicely, and it still has that fear. It hasn't taken away any of the horror aspect of the game. And one I'm definitely going to play again. I still need to play Silent Hill F. That's on my list for this year. And I think Bloober Team are still doing the Silent Hill 1 remake, and I'm even more excited for that if it's possible, because Silent Hill 1 needs a remake in the worst kind of way. Spectacular. Love me some spooky games. Number 5 was a bit of a surprise. Again, we played it on the PS5. It is Split Fiction. And we played, I can't remember, was it Haze? It wasn't Hazelight, was it? Hazelight Studios? Was it though? Yes, it was. Hazelight Studios. Um, they also developed It Takes Two, which is a game me and the missus played and really, really enjoyed. I'll hear an argument that maybe It Takes Two is better, but I don't know if I agree. Split Fiction was just a wonderful co-op only game where you play as these two girls who are basically put into now, the story beats, it's been a while since we played it, but they are basically put into a dream world made up of their own stories. They're writers, you see, and they have to battle their way out of these dream worlds based on the things that they've created to try and get back to the real world because this evil company is trying to steal all of their ideas from them. And that takes you through a lot of different, what is such a wonderful way of having so many different. It gives them the license to just create whatever world they like from level to level. And there were some really fun areas to play in. I mean, if you've played the game, I mean, the pig level. Need I say more? Number 4. Link's Awakening remake for the Switch. Late to the party on this one, of course, but I finally got round to it. Now, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, the original, is perhaps the best game, barring maybe Pokemon, on the Game Boy. And again, I was thinking, oh, does that need remaking? Okay, sure. Yeah, fine. I'll get on board with it. But what they did with this game was absolutely amazing. Again, I would hear the argument all day long that this is now the best way to play Link's Awakening. It's brilliant to look at. It is exactly the same game. Exactly the same game. It just looks from the ground up so much nicer. And it's just as playable as ever it was. It's still my game, my beloved game at heart. It's just been given a hell of a facelift, and it is all the better for it. Now then, as we get into my top 3, this is where things got really difficult. And even to this point, I'm not sure how convinced I am. These 3 could change on any given moment. If you've been playing along, if you've been remembering some of the episodes from the last year, you might have guessed a few of these. But number 3, and I have literally changed my mind now and swapped the list around. Number 3 is going to be BioShock Infinite. If you listen to the episode that we did, you would know that this was a 10 out of 10 game for me. I remember that much, and there's a reason for that. I all day long think this is a better game than the original BioShock. I may not be popular in that opinion, but that's just how I feel. It takes everything that BioShock does and just makes it better. I mean, the visuals, I love Rapture as much as the next person, and Columbia was every bit as good. I don't care. The story beats were wonderful. Elizabeth, undeniably, you've heard me say this before, is the most useful side character in any video game ever. And I could play this game. I could go and just play this now. I love it so much. I've played it recently. I'll play it again. A wonderful game with a wonderful story. And I know I have to pick my words carefully here because, we all know that these games usually have a story beat that is a touch on the surprising side. And I think BioShock Infinite does that story beat every bit as good as the original BioShock. The only problem with it was I can appreciate that it maybe was a bit on the confusing side, but it blew me away. And BioShock Infinite, the third of the BioShock Infinite games, is coming in at number 3, which leads us on to number 2. Now, number 2, again, could have been number 1 on any given day. But number 2, it's on the Mega Drive. It is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Now, I did this list last year, and I'm pretty sure that Sonic 2 made the top of my list. So something would have to be pretty special to get ahead of my beloved Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Now, Sonic 3 on its own and Sonic and Knuckles on its own, probably a little bit lower down on the list. But you put those two together with that incredible lock-on technology. Say what you will about Sega, but they were ahead of the game on that one. It's just a magnificent game when you put the two together. It tells a story. It looks amazing. The music, come on. I mean, we all know a little bit about the old Michael Jackson involvement there on the soundtrack. It sounds great. It plays amazing. It is... Ooh, is it the ultimate Sonic game? nostalgically, I still prefer number 2, but I'd hear an argument that Sonic 3 and Knuckles is the complete package. And if you wanted to say it was your favorite Sonic game of all, I would hear that argument. And it's probably one, well, I'm going to make sure we cover this game this year. And as you can imagine, I'm probably going to have some very good things to say about it. Which leads us, inevitably, to number 1. Some of you already know what it is. Game Genius was one of them, who says, "That is one hell of a list, my friend. You definitely find more time to game than I. My jealousy knows no bounds. Now, onto the list. Castlevania Symphony of the Night is probably the only game that has my heart here and should be the number 1 best game you played this past year, hands down. No argument. Good day, sir. Halo, Resident Evil, Half-Life certainly tug at the old heartstrings, and it turns out that I discovered Evoland because of y'all and really enjoyed it. It was cool to listen to you talk about Musha at my request. That was a good trip back down memory lane, revisiting that one. One last thing, you need to get the guys to play Legacy of Kain Blood Omen. You must remedy this year. Best game series ever created, and it must see the light of day. Don't worry, Game Genius. I'll work my magic on Blood Omen, and that's another game series that I'm blissful that has come back after 20 some odd years. A new Legacy of Kain game. Who'd have thought? Oh, we are eating good this year. But yes, number 1 on my list of best games that I completed 2025 is, of course, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Listen to the episode. You know my thoughts about this one. It is, to my mind, it is Metroidvania's refined. I mean, Metroid obviously started the whole gameplay style. Symphony of the Night perfected it. It is no coincidence that every Metroidvania since has taken some inspiration from Symphony of the Night. It is a masterpiece. It looks fantastic. It plays great. It just has so many layers to it. The music, all of that good stuff. It is a game. It is a comfort food game for me. It is something that I can literally stick on anytime and just play through and enjoy it. I find it relaxing exploring Dracula's castle over and over and over again, finding the upside down castle, finding the true final boss. It is perfect. It is a perfect game. And I know there are people that have said it's been done better since. I don't know that I agree. And maybe it's nostalgia talking. I don't know. But I am proud to have this game physically in my gaming collection. And what else can I say? The best game that I completed last year. And you know what? It could make the list this year if I decide to play it again. I think I would have to exempt it from the running if I did that again. But there you go. There we go. I made it, guys. 74 games talked about. I hope that wasn't too rambly for you. Come and join our Discord, join our socials. Let us know what you thought of the list. What was the best game that you completed last year? Are you as sad as I am, and you log your games as you go along? I hope so. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, that's going to do it for 2025. And will I beat 74 games this year? Time will tell. I mean, we're in February? I mean, how many games have I done up until this point? I think it's about 8 or 9 currently. So, what's gonna top the list for 2026? Well, you'll have to wait and see next year when I do this ranking again. But thanks for listening, guys. Really appreciate you sticking around this long. And obviously, listen to Retrotopia wherever you get your podcasts. I mean, you know all this. You're already here. I don't have the other guys with me to bounce these outros off of. So I'm just going to ramble a bit and then probably just press stop. Yeah. All right, guys. It's been fun. I'm going to go rest my throat now, and I hope you have a wonderful 2026. I know it's a weird thing to say in February, but that's all I got. Thanks for listening, guys, and game on. Hi there, everyone. We here at Retrotopia couldn't do what we do without the support of our Patreons. And to that effect, we would like to shout out our heroes at the hero tier.
So a huge Retrotopia thank you from all of the hosts here to Andrew Wright, Wildcard, Unbuckled Cape, Makeshift Money, Sergeant Ombre, Randy Berridge, Bcos19, J Nasty 15, Chris Kaplane, Jack Datchler, Sir Busts-a-Lot, Big Kid 782, Super Dave, Big Brown Dog, Studstill Smash, Fallen Snow Kiku, Radmac, Calin Hygus, Old Man Gamer, Raging Demon, Radioactive Hooli, Blue Shell Discharge, The Big Deal, Dylan Jacobson, Game Genius, H, Brother Retro, Shane's World, of Indoley, Brian Spritzer. So thanks as always for your support, guys. It truly means the world to us and means we can keep doing this little thing that we love so much. Game on.